Time for a change of scenery on the channel as we swap churning up the turf for crashing off the boards. And check out the latest basketball management sim from Umix Studios. Welcome to Pro Basketball Manager 2024. So today we're going to have a look at what's new in this year's edition. We featured the 2023 game on the channel earlier this year and you guys seemed to like it. So when those kind folks over at Umix Studios offered me an early access key, I snapped it up. Let's start with the game menu here looks different. And indeed the devs promised a new interface in the pre-release notes, along with smarter AI opponents, improved matchday graphics and customizable arenas, and an absolute ton of playable competitions, 175 in fact, 17 of which are fully licensed, with the biggest new addition being the Turkey Super League. In fact, nice touch, they've got all the licensed leagues up on the gym wall there. But anyway, let's set up a new career and see what the game looks like. Now you see here when we set the career up, we've at the moment got this default mod available to select as our database. Now of course mods can be added, just as the game hasn't officially been released yet and I've been lucky enough to get a sneak peek here. There aren't any mods available at the moment. So it takes a minute or two to get everything set up. Then we get the usual array of options for customizing our manager. I'm going for this kind of silver fox version of myself. There's also some preset characteristics, as you can see here, depending on if you want to be more of a tactical player, more of a man manager, more of a mental tutor and coach for your players. You can then play around with those sliders a bit, take away points from one area and add them in somewhere else. And then we get round to picking the team we want to manage. Now you see here it started us off on the American League, lots of city names and no real logos, and we've got this Hollywood team up here. So this is obviously not one of the licensed leagues, but there is a fix that will be available for this shortly after release, and as soon as it is, I'll make a video guide on how to install it. But for the purposes of today's video, let's pick one of the licensed leagues, and as you scroll down here, you see just how many leagues and different nations and playable competitions there are in this game. I'm going to go for Turkey as one of the newly licensed leagues in the game. And you see here we've got the top two flights for the men's competitions, and we've also got the Super League for the women's competition as well. But for now, I'm going to go for the men's competition, and we're going to take charge of Anadolu Efes. And then we get this screen, we can take charge of a national team here, male or female, but I'm going to leave that blank for now. We'll just focus on the club game. And here we get to add additional leagues. So if you want to do something of a journeyman where you're going to move around club to club, you might pick a couple of extra leagues from here. Or you might also go for leagues that are going to make things a little bit more competitive in continental competition, or provide you with some places to go and scout for new talent. All right, so that's our league selected. Let's jump in and see what the game's like. Alright, so here we are looking at the game dashboard. This is kind of day one. You can see up here it says it's July the 2nd, 2023. And we get our overview here. So we've got our budget, we've got a kind of quick overview of our players, we've got our schedule coming up for the season, obviously some pre-season friendlies, and then we get into the league. We've got the league and we've got the European competition as well. Now, resembling other popular sports management simulations, we do get a lot of the information and communication from the game through the inbox. So we see here we get our initial objectives, first of all, for the European League. Obviously, when we get the name fix in, we'll get the proper competition name there, but we want to reach the final four. We do get the option here to up the objective, so we can say, no, we're going to win the whole thing and try to get a little bit of extra budget, but I will leave that alone for now. And then with the Basketball Super League, the domestic competition, the expectation is to win. Very high expectations here at Anadolu Efes. They are one of the top teams in the Turkish Basketball League, so that's to be expected. Then we get this information here on salaries and so on, and as we look through the rest of it, if we click on the team, we get a bit more of an overview of the team. We get our comparison with the rest of the league, so you can see here we are one of the strongest teams in the league. We're matching the best on players, on finances, on facilities. Just staff is perhaps a small area for improvement. Then navigating across the top here, we can bring up our roster list. So we got some basic information. We've got this kind of estimated star rating. If we just click on one of those players, we get the profile. Now, obviously, this is a licensed league. We've got the player picture here. And then we've got all of these stats on their offense, defense, physical, and mental as well. And then obviously as we play some games, these parts on statistics are going to get populated as well. We'll come back to tactics and training in a minute. Just want to look here. So schedule, obviously we've got an overview of upcoming fixtures, pre-season friendlies, and domestic and European games as well. finances gives us an overview of our budgets, so we can keep that in mind. We can also have a look at the player contracts we've got here and how much we're paying out, our kind of future payments and those kind of things. Now, facilities, this is something where changes were promised in terms of how we can manage our facilities. So I see here I can actually immediately rename this if I want. I could call it DG Arena. I could just change it to my own name. I've always wanted the stadium named after me in Football Manager, never quite got there. Here, they give us a shortcut. So we've got some basic details about it there. Then this is interesting as we get into facilities. So we see here, this is a bit like when you're buying tickets for an event, isn't it? So you've got all these different areas. Now we can look at which areas of the arena are filling up more. We can fiddle with the prices as well. We can try and squeeze a bit more money and see what's the optimal amount to charge for tickets to maximize our match day revenue. We've also got here shops. So we see here things like soda, beer, fries, sandwich. We can set the prices for all of those, for buying a shirt and so on. So, you know, that's something that I know a lot of people want to see in Football Manager. I mean, for me, I'm not that bothered about it, but it is interesting to see it here. We see here what's most sold, what's most profitable, and then we get entertainment as well. So things like having cheerleaders in, an announcer and a mascot, Moscot, what am I talking about? How much that's going to cost us. We can change the cheerleaders if we want them to go up to professional. That's going to up the cost a little bit, but hopefully entertain the crowds more. Then we can also look at staff. We've got options over here to go and recruit more people. And speaking of recruitment, we've also got like a scouting center here. So we can see here immediately we've got a list of all the free agents who are available, so we can make approaches to them, try to bring them in. And there are other ones that I could send. They're unknown at the moment, but I could send my scouts out to have a look. Now, coming back up here to training. Now, this is something that is much simpler than Football Manager. For example, I find you can specify the hours of training. So this I remember being the same last year, total hours of training today, and then training the day before a game and so on. And after the game, you can adjust all of that. You can set some individual training here, so you could increase or decrease the intensity for individual players. You can put priorities on if you want them to work on specific parts of their game. So tactics, we get here to set up how we want the team to start out, 3 out, 2 in, or 4 out, 1 in. We can set roles here, such as go-to guy. We can tell people to focus on defense. We got our 6-man that we can set. Then we've got our tactics here when we're on the offense. We can adjust these during the game as well. I'm going to show you a match in a moment. So we can set the tempo up or down, and we can also balance out short shots and long shots. We could favor one or the other. And then we've got our rebound strategy from crash off the boards to limit transitions. On defense as well, we can decide how hard we want to go in. Do we want to be tight? Do we want to step off a bit? And then we've got plays. So this is where we can come up with our own little movements. So we can just hit create here. We can enter a name for our play. We can decide what the setup is that we want, and then we can start telling the players what to do. So here, do I want this guy to bring the ball forward or to the side? Do I want him to make a pass? Where do I want these players to move to? And we'll try and open up some space and score. All right, so this is where I expose how laughably bad my knowledge of basketball tactics is, but I played around a bit here. We got a couple of things. So here I've set this up myself. I want my point guard to bring it in, and I want this guy back here to go for the 3-pointer. But anyway, let's put it all into the match. So I've played through the preseason friendlies. This is our opening game of the season. We're going to play against Bursaspor, so we'll have a look at the match day experience and see these graphical improvements that were promised. So here we get an overview of the game. Obviously, it's the first match of the season. Our guys here, Larkin and Clyburn, they've been the MVPs of preseason, as it were. So we're just going to go on to the tactics. Now, we can ask here, we can ask the assistant to set things up for us. I'm going to get to grips with the game. I'm a bit rusty. I did play a bit last year. I was intending to do a series on Pro Basketball Manager 2023, but we never got the time. Maybe we'll do one with this. If you would like to see some Pro Basketball Manager Let's Play action, maybe a single season, maybe a bit of a journeyman career, let me know down in the comments and we'll see if we can bring that in. But anyway, let's start the game here and see what it looks like. So, I mean, it doesn't look drastically different from last year, but I do think it just looks a bit more polished now. You can see we haven't quite sold out our arena. The arena definitely looks better. What I might do at some point here is just do a little split screen side by side so we can have a look at how things compare. Let's just hit start the game for now, so we'll get our players out for the tip off, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I might do. In fact, let's do that now. Let's do a little side by side so we can see what the difference is. I mean, we do have this thing with highlighting the players. You can turn that off. There, Larkin went for the 3-pointer. Was that my play coming in there? Possibly. You can turn that highlighting off if you prefer. I just keep it on for now. It adds a bit of a unique look to the game, doesn't it? All right, here we go. Larkin, we're on the offense now. He sends it out to Osmani. Osmani with the opening points of the game. Lovely stuff. Now we can speed this up. We can go to like double speed and to triple speed as well. Obviously there, I chose triple speed at the wrong point because that was when a foul was called. Oh, we can go back to the main speed. We also get the opportunity to simulate here if we want to just skip ahead to the end of the quarter and pick it up later. But we've got our lead back now, 4-2. Obviously basketball can be a bit end to end like that now. Oh, we see here a few things to keep an eye on. Here we can see the conditioning of our players. We've got these green circles. Those will start to diminish as they get tired, and then they will later go yellow. And there you go. We got the breakaway 6-2 up. Nice to see. But yeah, then we can make our substitutions. We've also got the option here to call timeouts, so we get 2 timeouts per quarter, of course. We can play around with the tactics and our offense, defense. We can do some shouts out here as well. So there's plenty of options. Wow, we just flattened one of their guys. I think the referee's going to take a look at that one. Hopefully they let the points stand. Oh, yes, here we go. And this is new. I don't remember us having this last year, that kind of over the basket view for the penalty shots. But yeah, that's something I think is new this year, at least. Anyway, let's just simulate ahead to the end of this quarter and see how we're doing. All right, so we got to the end of the quarter. We're in the lead by 4 points. So here we get some team talk options. So a collective message we can send out to the whole team. I'm not going to go with the first one. Ease off, we're well in front, because that's definitely not the case. Keep it up. We can encourage, just general encouragement. Watch out. I think I'll go for that one. Watch out. The course of the game could change quickly. We could, if we feel the need, do some individual talks. We've got 2 options. We can congratulate people, or we can tell them to calm down. Anyway, if we have a look, so we can see here, we need to make a couple of substitutions. So we're just going to swap out Bryant and Gezi. So we can just do that from here. So the shooting guards stay the same. And then our forward here, Osmani, who can we swap him for? I think we're going to have to swap him. I don't have someone else who can play that position naturally, but let's just stick Zizik on there for now. We validate our answer and we get back to the game and see how we play out this second quarter. All right, let's speed this up a bit. Speed things up a bit. We do get these weird vibrations from the player when they're slowed down like that. But there you go. That was a big score to re-establish our dominance in this second quarter. And we got a chance here to expand our lead as well. Oh, now I remember last year, it depends exactly how you want to play the game and how much of it you want to watch. But, you know, it can be anywhere from a few minutes up to about 15 minutes to get through a match. It depends on the level of detail you want to go into. Now, obviously, with basketball compared to football, there's many more games in a season, so you probably want to just quick sim some games and maybe just those big playoff end of season playoff games and championship games are the ones that you'd want to watch in full detail. But good, we've opened up a decent score here. So let's just have a look at if they score here. Okay, we will call a timeout on the next play, maybe make a couple of changes and look at swapping some things up tactically as well. Let's see what we do from here. Oh, we should have scored that one, I think. And there you go. Finally, our timeout is called. So it's a bit like the end of the quarter. We can give some words out. So keep it going. We've got that 7-point lead. Right, I think I can bring Ergen Osmani back on at this point. And we're probably going to take off this guy as well. Who can we bring on for him? Clyburn. Let's get Clyburn back out there. And I think we're going to take off our point guard as well. Ozdemiroglu. Let's take him off. Who have we got who's a decent point guard replacement? We'll bring on Tunja. So there we go. We validate that and we get back out there. Now we can do some changes for tactics here. So if we want to change our formation, we can do that here. If we want to up the tempo, so maybe seize control of the game here, we're going to go for crashing off the boards. We're going to up the tempo for the remainder of this quarter. Let's see if this works now. Do we get the... We didn't go for a three-pointer here, but okay, we picked up the rebound and we've somehow managed to miss 3 shots in a row. Oh dear. Perhaps my idea, my master tactical plan, hasn't worked out so well. Right, we're coming up for the final minute and a half here. The opposition coach has just called a timeout because, as you can see, we're 7 points clear here with 95 seconds to play. It did get a bit kind of close towards the end of the third quarter and the start of this fourth quarter. There was a point there where both sides were trading the lead with each play. There was just a couple of points in it, but we've managed to open up a gap into this fourth quarter, and you can see now we're 12 points up. I just upped the tempo as soon as Bursaspor started to close that gap to us and then did start to trade the lead with us. Oh, I'm still going on full speed there. All right. Yeah, I just shut that down. I told my guys to up the tempo, and it's worked. 87-73 is the victory, so we can end the game there. A successful opening day of the season. Shane Larkin was our MVP there. We get a few stats for the team. We'll have a look at the standings. So obviously it's the first game of the season, so there's not much we can read into that at the moment. And then we get this little summary at the end. So how much money was spent, our arena expenses. We see that 254,000 euros, but a 400,000 euro income. So a big payday for us from that home fixture, that opening game of the season. Imagine if we can fill that arena, what kind of money we'll be pulling in. And then we get a few little news updates following the match. We've just ticked over to the start of the month, I guess, so salaries have been paid out and things like that. So, and then we get a kind of overview of what's gone on elsewhere in the league. But that is a look at Pro Basketball Manager 2024. So a couple of things to bear in mind if you are interested in getting the game for yourself. Check out my description. There's a link there to the Steam page. It's only available through Steam at this time. So it's not an affiliate link or anything. Just if you want to go and get the game yourself, go and check it out. Thank you again to Umix Studios and Keymailer for the key. And if you do want to see a Let's Play series of Pro Basketball Manager, let me know in the comments.